Look at outside.
I've got to go out there and film airbrushing a cake. I don't know what the bride ordered, but this is what she got. Let's see if we can create that disaster and then fix it. First thing I'm noticing is the entire cake is camo. I don't know that the entire thing being camouflage looking was the best direction. Although, credit to the baker, I did try to look up inspiration for what we could do with a camo themed cake when we fix it. There was not a lot, so we're just gonna make this up as we go. So I've already crumb coated my cakes and now I'm icing them with like an old style American buttercream, which means it's a little bit of butter and a bit of icing sugar, which makes it really dry. And if you look at the cake, it looks really dry and cracked. Couple things, a crusting buttercream, which is buttercream I used to make, has a lot of icing sugar, so it cracks on the surface. The other thing that makes it do that, it's flimsy cake boards that can't support the weight, so when it flexes, the cake cracks. And it's airbrushed on the outside of the cake, which also dries out that outer layer buttercream. So I think those are the major things that I was seeing happening that went wrong there. The first time we did this challenge, I think the cake was a lot more of a classic wedding cake look. So we end up with a classic wedding cake look. This is a very unique themed cake. So we're gonna end up with a very unique themed cake, but hopefully with a better design that removes some of the problems that I'm seeing here. This cake is really taking me back because it looks paper toweled to me. It's a really fast way of smoothing out cakes when you're using this kind of buttercream and don't mind the paper towel texture. But I'm saying that it's got really rounded edges and it looks like it's slightly textured underneath the airbrushing. So that's what we're doing.
Although this one still looks pretty good. Like you've got pretty square edges.
I've got to round over the edges a little bit. I feel like it's looking like the bad one. I'm gonna ice the other tiers and then we'll be back to assemble. Keep getting confused by this cake because it's made in a really weird way compared to where I would traditionally tier a cake because it's made on too big of cake boards. And normally you wouldn't put the border on until after you've tiered it, but you have to do it this stage because the border is airbrushed. And of course, it has a shell border. Nothing against shell borders when it comes to birthday cakes, but for a wedding cake, my personal opinion, shell borders have no business being anywhere near a wedding cake.
I think you just insulted a bunch of people.
I'm sorry if I insulted people who do shell borders on wedding cakes. You should probably stop. I also feel like something that's that fast to go on a cake shouldn't be on a wedding cake, you know? Like it's just too fast and sloppy and easy. I suck at making flowers and I really didn't want to pipe a bunch of flowers again to scrape it off, so I got these ones. Stick. You stick, you flower. I haven't used an airbrush machine in a really long time, mainly because an airbrush machine doesn't airbrush just on the cake. Those colors get out from the air and they go over across everything because that's what happened in our old house and we got like blue and different color airbrush on everything. So we're not doing that in our new kitchen and we're gonna airbrush outside. It's currently very snowy, very cold out there, but that's what we're gonna do because I'm not gonna airbrush all of this new kitchen. Do you wanna go outside and airbrush a cake? Yeah, you do. That's a nice toy. From what I remember, army print is just like a bunch of splotches of different colors and then it comes together. My fingers are frozen. If you're a baker and you airbrush cakes, how do you do it? Because I doubt this is how.
It's looking good though.
Is it looking army-like?
Yep. Oh my God, it's only been 3 minutes.
Break. Get the next cake. Oh no, I stuck my fingers right into it. It's fine, it's fine.
Not the border.
Not the shell border.
So Lori went back out with the second cake, but I can still have her audio. How long do you think it's gonna be until she starts cursing me?
Kev, can you bring the other cake out?
Oh, okay, hold on. Nice and warm in here now. I'm standing over top of the heat register. Poor Lori.
Where have you been?
I was in the house. I was filming through the window.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I looked up and you were just gone and you never came back. Is it looking army?
Yeah, it looks good.
We're now doing two at the same time because it's too cold out here.
What happened to this mess? Why is it dripped all over the place?
I don't know. It's cold. Reggie, you got his glove. That's my glove. No.
You might want to wash this one.
Well, that was an experience. My hands are very, very cold. How are your hands?
Oh, they're pretty good now.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You have my gloves and Archie's mouth.
Yeah, his mouth was pretty warm.
I think we're getting there. I don't really know why, but they use these spacers. It looked like they wrapped duct tape around them, like camo duct tape. So I'm gonna wrap camo duct tape around them. Some of the more strange things I've done to a cake. I feel like we're achieving the look. Kevin and I were talking about it and trying to figure out who this cake would be for. And I think it would be for a couple who is probably like soldiers or maybe in the army, who they maybe met in the forest and it was really important to them, that or hunters. But I'm gonna choose the hero route. But either way, it was obviously really, really important to them that they wanted their wedding cake all camo themed. So we've got our funny spacer here. I'm trying to roughly center. Hearing, which is always funny to me that this like delicate little bendy straw can like support the weight of everything. And for safety, I'm gonna
It's everywhere.
It felt like it went everywhere. Smoosh, see? Wait, science or something. And tearing. Actually not that bad. Do a little spin since the flowers are already on the cake. Oh my God.
What's going on?
I don't trust this. I feel like it's gonna tilt over.
Did you cut your straws uneven?
No,
I mean, it does seem like something you might do.
maybe. I'm just gonna hold it. If I was gonna finish this cake off, I would put a dowel straight down the entire cake, holding every tier together on one unified rod.
Let's do a centrifugal force test. Spin it really fast.
I think we're there. Oh, wait, oh crap, we need the bride and groom. I can't quite see the whole cake topper, but I'm pretty sure it's this exact one. I think it's kind of like this. Ta-da! We did it. We created the disaster. Now it's actually, like this is from cakerack.com, it's actually not that bad. I feel like it is kind of a fun cake. I think there's elements that do make it cool, but there's also elements that I think would land it on Cake Rack, and I think there's things that we can improve on. I think they put the spacers in because the bride and groom really wanted a tall cake and didn't need a lot of servings. But I think we could achieve that in a better design way if we maybe did a 2-tier, but did a very tall bottom tier with a shorter top tier. I think we need some contrast here, and I think camo being so important, obviously, to bride and groom, we want camo incorporated in the cake, but it's a wedding cake, so let's balance that. And I'm thinking we can do that by keeping the top tier white, but maybe making the bottom tier camo. Also not gonna airbrush it. I don't know how exactly I'm gonna do it, but I'm thinking if I can do maybe like a splotch, that's kind of more of a modern vibe. If I do like a splotch pattern with different camo-like colors, I think that'll bring it together. And I think the brown and the black are really darkening it and weighing it down. I think we can achieve a really beautiful camo with just greens. And I think like really beautiful bold greens are gonna really pop. Bold greens, gold. Gold and bold greens go so well together. So what if we did some gold leaves? Not gold leaf, but like gold leaves. And what if we kept it like more of that like outdoorsy woodsiness that is camo with some like oak leaves that we can dust gold, really nice big ones that kind of come up and down the cake like that. So it has that like, you know, I love when something goes up and down, it kind of brings your sight lines up and down. I think that's really pretty. And then instead of just like a bunch of flowers and having them camos, I think if we did like a beautiful big flower moment here with a few little flowers. I like the general vibe of that. I know it's very rough.
You should do a shell border, but with like bullet shells.
Maybe we keep,
they're
you know,
gold-colored.
We're just gonna go camo inspired by this. But I think something like this would still give us the height, but not a lot of servings, which we're seeing here. I think we can definitely bring the camo in with some florals, but like make camo part of the wedding cake and not the whole wedding cake. I feel good about these details. I think that it would still be roughly within the same budget because we're not really changing the cake serving size. We're still doing a whole buttercream cake and we're using fake flowers. So I think it would still be budget wise. I mean, wedding costs these days are astronomical and I know how fast those expenses can add up. I mean, before our channel took off, we were really struggling and saving wasn't easy for us. So even something like birthdays were challenging because when you have 10 birthdays in a row, like in my family, it's super stressful when you don't have that extra money to cover things like gifts and dinners out. And eventually we sat down and created a spreadsheet and went through every single transaction in our bank accounts and our credit cards to try to just gain control over our finances. I wish back then that we had today's sponsor, Rocket Money, to help get more organized. It's an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you lower bills, cancel subscriptions, and manage your money better. Rocket Money imports all of your expenses for you and categorizes them automatically. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. And that is super helpful for me considering my biggest issue has always been not knowing how much money I'm wasting on things I really don't even need. And it's not just about cutting back. I mean, Rocket Money helps you set budgets and stay on track so you can actually grow your savings. I know savings is not the most exciting topic, especially when all I want to do is go and blow all my money on more vacations, but having a clear plan feels really empowering. If you want help taking control of your money, Rocket Money is here to help. Click the link in the description down below or the QR code on screen to try it out. All right, let's take this cake apart, see if we can fix it and turn it into something really cool. Slide this over very carefully. Mr. Bride and Groom can come off.
We're gonna reuse that in the final cake, right?
Yeah, of course.
What were you saying about those toppers? How much you love them, right, Lorraine?
I don't know how much more I should insult this cake. Okay, I am not the biggest fan of toppers, of like bride and groom fake toppers. I think it's a little bit of an outdated design style to throw that on top, but that's just me and my personal preference. Comes the very sad part. I've got to get this icing off before we can put new fresh icing on. And unfortunately, I don't like the kind of icing that would have been used because it would have been a dry crusting buttercream, which is why it's all cracked looking. And what I want is an icing that's gonna cool hard in the fridge to do a different kind of camo look. Can you see where you are or do you need to move?
Nobody asked you, Lori. Like really. Sometimes you just need to mind your own business. Where do you want me?
I noticed that you just came over here. I think it's too dry because of all the, having too much icing sugar in it.
So it's your fault?
Well, I did that purposely, but sure. It's my fault that it purposely did what I wanted to do.
You wanted it to peel off like this?
Not that, but shucking.
You wanted it to have cracks in it?
Yes, because
That was
their
it.
cake had cracks in it.
Oh, I see.
I'm sick of you harassing me. I think I figured out a new technique. You just roll the buttercream. This is the weirdest video. I know already I'm gonna get hate for this, but we're gonna carve this one down to make it the sizes of these. So we're gonna lose some servings, but not a ton of servings. I feel like this is just a little bit too short. These are too short, these are too short. So I wanna build these up so we can create some height, and that's gonna help add to the whole design of it. I think one of the things that's making this cake look a little bit more dated is that the tiers are a little bit more stumpy. So I'm hoping that if I combine these tiers and make a bit taller tiers, it's gonna give it that more modern, more polished, elegant edge. More modern cakes and wedding cakes, that they have these really like oversized, weirdly tall cakes, but they look stunning. So that's what I'm trying to create here. See that? That is very nice and tall. How are we feeling about the heights?
I think it's pretty good.
I think optimally I would have loved to have kept the bottom tier if I could have made it taller, but since I can't, I'm taking it apart. We're going with this. It's a little jiggly.
They're always jiggly at first.
Yeah, it'll firm up once we have the icing on there. I've got Swiss meringue here. I think this is gonna be a better icing than the first one it was iced in. I can't be the only one that thinks this, but I feel like cakes look so funky before they're like crumb coated, especially when they're weird sizes or shapes. I think as soon as they're crumb coated, it's like, okay, it's a cake. It's a cake, they start coming together. See? That looks better. I feel better about the size now. Just needed icing. See, I thought that a 4-tier and a 6-tier would be very weird because I've always used to bigger tiered cakes.
You mean a 4-inch and a 6-inch?
Yeah, but we did this for that velvet cake that sprayed cocoa butter all everywhere and then Kevin had to clean it up and he was really sad. that one. I think the 4-inch and 6-inch tiers really worked in that one. So I'm going with it. We're leaning into it.
The proportions of the cake layers make a huge impact on the
really do.
Finished product. It's definitely gonna look better.
I love that you believe in me. I let that chill. I know that I'm gonna go on top of this with some sort of camo. I'm thinking like a splotchy looking green, shades of green, but I feel like I wanna go with a little bit thicker coat of icing because I don't know how thick that's gonna be. Also, thank you so much for everyone who's joined us over on our members only content. We really appreciate you guys. It's been amazing and we've been having a blast. It's a lot different than the content we post here. I feel like it's similar to a podcast, but video style. So it's just Kevin and I sitting here talking about a bunch of stuff that we wouldn't really share on the channel, but talking about like the channel's history, talking more about Archie or our lives, things that are going on. We're also sharing a lot more about the videos themselves. We've just been having fun. It just feels like a really lighthearted version of just making content where we're just hanging out, no timelines, no nothing, and we're just chilling with friends. And I think that's the kind of feedback we've been getting and everyone's been enjoying it. If you wanna check it out, check out the link in the description box below. And you can even sign up for 1 month, watch all of the content, and if it's not for you, unsubscribe. It's really not that big of a deal, and at least you can kind of check it out, but we've been having a lot of fun with it, so we're gonna keep doing it. It's also a great way to support us. Thank you for everyone who's bought our cake smoother as well. Love you, and if that's not for you, like, comment, sharing, it really also helps. I don't wanna get too cheesy, but like, we've been doing this for 11 years now. Thanks for letting us just like hang out on the internet with you for 11 years and make whatever we happen to be making today, which is remaking somebody else's cake. Which, as much as I felt confident in my sketch with, all of a sudden I've got this imposter syndrome shining through of like, oh my God, who am I to decorate a wedding cake and say what's right or wrong with this? Let's pick the greens. So we've already decided that brown and black probably are not going to be our best colors. But I like the idea of our greens. I feel like that might work, but I think we need at least 3. It's not what I expected, but could it work? I think I'm going more into like the greens that have some like blue tones compared to yellow tones, you know? I'm not sure how all these greens are gonna work with each other, so I'm gonna make a little color palette to compare them. And I was hoping for something a little bit more rich in color than that. I feel like this one has a little bit more of that yellow tone, but I actually really like it. Like that to me is saying army and camo. I feel like we should give Forrest a try now. It's too blue. Did you want me to go more blue with it? Are you totally distracted by him?
Yeah.
So it's hard. I really like this one because I feel like to me this says the most camo-y print.
Do I have a camera in my hand?
Instead of a cookie?
That wasn't the question.
That wasn't the question?
No.
It's not getting rid of the cookie, it's adding a camera. I think you should have a camera. Can you double, you know,
I can
camera and
double
cookie? You can do it? So I really like this color, but you really liked.
I like that one. Whoops, there's a cookie crumb in that. Is that okay? I mean, I can't make it bad, right?
You really like that one. I have a vision. I want it to almost like be artist paint swipes, like that. And the 3 colors will have a camo feel without being camo print. I just also haven't exactly seen what I'm envisioning on a cake before, so I think this splotches to go in different directions, right? Yeah, I know I'm asking you. You're just the cameraman.
That's right.
I'm thinking if I go in with one color, then I'll like layer it up with the other colors.
What?
Hi, smushed face. I feel like it got a little polka dotty. Camo print is a little bit polka dotty, it's smeary. But Kevin thinks that maybe if we go a little bigger with some of them, instead of like doing a different color here, if I kind of maybe bring this green down and cover larger sections. It's always fun trying things for the first time on camera, not knowing how they're gonna look. But my goal is to make this cake better. I think it's gonna be camo and not in your face.
Archie's watching us.
Creep. What are we thinking of the big splotches?
I think the color combinations look really great. I wish it wasn't so textured. If I could give a bit of criticism, that's what it would be. But I think that you did a great job with the shapes and the sizes and the colors and everything.
I'm just gonna cry myself to sleep. No, I agree. The texture's hard. When I was aiming out to do this technique, I didn't think it was gonna be as textured either. I thought it'd be a little bit smoother, That's what it's gonna look like, because I'm not scraping it down and redoing it. So let's get the top tier on top, and hopefully this starts tying together. The more I look at it, the more I see the texture.
I think once you get all the flowers and the leaves on though, you won't see it.
The texture is texturing. It's too much. It's too much. I feel like the texture isn't looking as elegant as I was hoping, but maybe, you know what, maybe that's better, because I mean, it should be like maybe slightly rustic.
Yeah.
Right? Because like outdoorsy, you know?
Yeah. It never looks right until it comes together.
Yeah.
You can't judge each individual component.
Yeah.
And then we start looking at that white cake and be like, oh, it's kind of crooked. There's some weird lines in it. It's got some splotches. I'm just kidding. This is my favorite part.
Really don't know why I'm using a knife right now. Okay. 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 I don't know if I like it.
What do you mean?
It.
Hey, but you can't judge it yet.
I'm judging it.
Could use a shell border around that to cover up the space between the two cakes. Don't you think?
Shut your mouth. Gold, I'm hoping is gonna help this situation. I went with the oak leaves to help bring more of that outdoorsy-ness into the final look. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, let's do the backs.
Yeah, oh my God.
How is it so much in the air already? I did one leaf.
I don't think you thought this through.
I think I've thought it through. The icing's hard, I haven't thought this through. And now I'm not touching it. Okay, let's make a little invitation for our leaf. Ah, montage.
What's your head, Lori?
Bonk. One more time. I both like this and I don't like this. I love the elements of the gold and the green. I feel like I didn't nail the camo pattern without knowing what the bride actually ordered. It's hard to know if she'd be happier with this or the other one, but I think we improved on all those elements that I think it was lacking. Let me know if you like this one better. And thanks so much again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. If you want help taking control of your money, Rocket Money is here to help. Click the link down below in the description box or the QR code over here on screen to try it out. I love you. Thanks for watching.